Quick note to our listeners, we need your help. We're close to 1 million views on YouTube, and we have over 5,000 subscribers. But if we can get to 10,000 subscribers by the end of this year, that will allow us to raise money for the Finding Genius Foundation and our study to help those suffering from anxiety, depression, and PTSD. Please just take a second and subscribe to the podcast. And if you can, like the video. That'll help us get more listeners. It'll help with the YouTube algorithm. And again, help us reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers and 1 million views. We're going to hit the 1 million views, it looks like, hopefully by May of 2022. But the 10,000 subscribers will be harder. That's going to take until the end of this year. Thank you. Organifi is a line of organic superfood blends that offer plant-based nutrition made with high-quality ingredients. Each Organifi blend is science-backed to craft the most effective doses with the ingredients that are organic and free of fillers and contain less than 3 grams of sugar per serving, like Organifi green juice with essential superfoods and a clinical dose of ashwagandha. It helps reduce stress and support healthy cortisol levels. Or Organifi red juice, a superfood punch that increases energy without caffeine and only 2 grams of sugar. Each Organifi blend is easy to use simply by mixing it with water or your favorite beverage while on the go, and they don't compromise quality for taste. Organifi takes pride in offering the best-tasting superfood products on the market at a price that works out to less than $3 a day. You can experience Organifi's high-quality superfoods without breaking the bank. Go to Organifi.com/genius and use the code GENIUS for 20% off your order. That's Organifi.com/genius. Use code GENIUS to get 20% off any item. Remember, www.Organifi.com/genius.
Forget frequently asked questions.
Common sense, common knowledge, or Google.
How about advice from a real genius? 95% of people in any profession are good enough to be qualified and licensed. 5%
go above and beyond.
They become very good at what they do, but only
0.1%
are real geniuses. Richard Jacobs has made it his life's mission to find them for you. He hunts down and interviews geniuses in every field: sleep science, cancer, stem cells, ketogenic diets, and more. Here come the geniuses. This is the Finding Genius Podcast
with Richard Jacobs.
Before we get started, I have a quick favor. I've been self-funding the Finding Genius podcast for 5 years now. I've done over 3,000 episodes. And as you can see on YouTube, we're up over 1 million views on the channel, which is fantastic. The next thing I really want to push on is to get up to 10,000 subscribers. Because once we do, we'll be able to put a donate button, and we'll be able to solicit donations to help keep the podcast running and to also get the Finding Genius Foundation moving along. We have a big project studying anxiety, depression, and PTSD, and working on a product to help people overcome these problems because I've seen them explode recently after the last 2 years of the whole virus situation. So if you would, please subscribe to the podcast. That would help us tremendously. Give us a thumbs up. And check in the description for Buy Me a Coffee. It's about $5. If you could buy me a coffee, I'd really appreciate it. It would help keep the channel going, and I love coffee. Thank you. Hello, this is Richard Jacobs with the Finding Genius podcast, now part of the Finding Genius Foundation. Today I have Mae Steigler. She's the Chief Executive Officer of Organifi, Organifi. The website is OrganifiShop.com. So we're going to talk about the products that Organifi makes. So Mae, thank you for coming.
Rich, it's an absolute pleasure to be on air with you. Thank you so much for hosting. I'm looking forward to our conversation today. Thank you.
Yeah, well, tell me a bit about your history and what led you to either start or become the CEO of Organifi. What's your background?
Thank you. Unconventional, I'll say that. I've been working with the founder and with this company for about 10 years. So I've worn a lot of hats, but my journey to, being CEO and leading this company started back in animal health about 10, 15 years ago. I was in the animal health industry, really focused on early diagnosis of illness with the intention to prevent overuse of antibiotics. My background's in animal science and nutrition. And post-college, I was working in industry, in R&D, and at farm level, and really looking at animal nutrition closely, recognizing that when we feed animals kind of the food they're not designed to consume, illness is definitely the result, disease and illness. And so we were looking at nutrition's impact, early diagnosis with temperature monitoring in dairy cattle. And I got a really close-up look at just a lot of metabolic issues and a lot of inflammation and challenge with our food system, and really began to recognize I was maybe solving the problem from the wrong driving point. And so I actually shifted focus and moved into consumer health at that time, started personal training, and really thought if I could support changing people's minds about, kind of the food systems we were demanding production through, was kind of like large scale, a bit dysfunctional agriculture, more like large scale and at the time, concentrated animal operations, and instead focus on high quality and how we could really feed animals what they're designed to eat, and more in the lifestyles they're designed to live. Our food quality would be improved. The animal well-being inadvertently would be improved. And getting into personal training and coaching, nutrition coaching, I really enjoyed applying my educational background. And that's really when I met Drew. And I had recognized my scale of impact would be in many ways limited personal training. And Drew Canoli, one of the founders of Organifi at the time, was just starting kind of creating YouTube videos and speaking to an online audience. And I started working with him on actually some corporate wellness programs originally around education, just consumer education and nutrition. And we were really speaking to juicing and the power of kind of what your body can resolve, how it can heal essentially and resolve a lot of the dominant conditions of inflammation and, digestive issues and stuff when you just, give your body the right food. A lot of the awareness that I had gained at farm level with animal nutrition. So it was an interesting application and, kind of my first experience in the online space. And that was 10 years ago. That was 10 years ago.
Okay.
That's where it started. Yeah. Building a community around juicing and really education focused on supporting consumers, using what's very available in the grocery store, very much what's in their kitchen to feel their best and perform their best.
Yeah. With juicing, I noticed, like for myself, and I know I'm not everybody, but I think also my wife too, if we have, quote unquote, like too much raw juice, it seems to like blow your colon up and, make you go to the bathroom like crazy, but it seems to be kind of too much in a way. I don't know if you've experienced that. Like, is it possible to have too much juice, and how much is a good amount for people that are doing it and just starting?
Yeah, actually really common, Rich. And back when we were educating folks about how to kind of incorporate juicing, it was really common that reaction would happen where it was almost like it kind of went right through them. It wasn't a very positive experience, quite honestly. And a lot of that can be reacting to just the straight difference in what their typical diet could look like. So it could just be too much contrast. Also, folks do respond in varying degrees to that amount of vegetables. So, inherently beneficial in juicing, and kind of the core difference between juicing and let's say a smoothie or blending is that in juicing, you're removing all the fiber. So it does make those nutrients in there readily available, but it can create kind of a more intense experience for the body, where, maybe reacting to some of the phytonutrients, sometimes customers or community members that had, maybe high FODMAPs concerns or different dietary concerns might react negatively to a lot of spinach, let's say, or like the goitrogens. We had a lot of conversations around goitrogenic foods that really interacted with the. Yeah, it's a really weird word.
What's that? It sounds like oivatrogens. What is goitrogen?
I know. Goitrogens are kind of like cruciferous vegetables. They're a food class or a vegetable class that interacts negatively or just more directly with the hypothalamus and the thyroid specifically. So, individuals that maybe have thyroid or metabolic conditions might experience negative responses to juice because of that. So a lot of the vegetables in those. Yeah, and you can look up, like very readily available would be like just looking up what's a goitrogen.
What kind of negative responses have you seen?
Well, a lot of that could be just not feeling good, right? So a bit of that could be upset stomach, as simple as that. Sometimes like loose bowels, right? Diarrhea, just very much an unexpected negative impact from what would, at the very surface level, be very healthy seeming food, right? And so it was definitely a common conversation with our community, and something that I think is still worth calling out. If you don't feel great after, a super big glass, or whether you're going out and getting a bottle of green juice, fresh green juice, it's worth looking into, like maybe those phytonutrients aren't great for you. And I think it speaks to definitely one size not fitting all, and really in those early days enjoyed kind of educating and focusing on the individualized approach to juicing that served our audience. And it's definitely not juicing is the answer, but it was a really key part of people transforming their health.
What does Organifi provide that juicing doesn't? Why the need for Organifi products? I don't mean to be harsh, but I just wonder.
No. Exactly why we exist. So, in the very beginning, we had created this large community of folks that were juicing for weight loss, for energy, for sleep. They were seeing amazing health benefits of juicing. The reality is, and kind of the most common obstacle that our very large community at the time, we had like 1 million folks on our Facebook community page. It was before the time when you could buy that, audience. So it was a big deal that we had built this great interest list around juicing. And the biggest obstacle to them consistently seeing results and continuing to juice was how hard it was. And so the origin of where Organifi came from was solving that core problem. So, and kind of our formulation and our core kind of hero product, our first product we released as Organifi, the brand, was how can we make the most powerful green juice formula or recipe, we even thought it as, because we used to make tons of juicing recipes, that was cost effective and highly, efficacious and delicious. Because another big part about juicing was sometimes, juices don't always taste great when you're making it at home. That was a really key. And this is 10 years ago, right? So with the kind of height of the juicing craze originally. And so we really made that easier for people. And we thought, hey, how could we just do a gently dried green juice powder and make it so that people didn't have to do the shopping and chopping and cleaning and whole juicing routine that takes, 30 minutes if you're good at it. And again, doesn't always come out great. You might spend 30 minutes making a juice at home and then it tastes awful and you're kind of choking it down. So we really wanted to make that easy. And it was a really great, kind of great way to open the product line and start the company just to make it easier and solving a true, at that time, customer problem to getting great results and feeling incredible. So we said, hey, let's make this really easy. What if it took 30 seconds instead of 30 minutes? What if it always tasted great? And what if we could even, add in ingredients at the time that were really hard to get a hold of? We had we had moringa, chlorella, spirulina, even turmeric in there. And we had a group of community members that lived more like in the kind of the Midwest, and they had a really hard time sourcing turmeric and ginger regularly. And so they'd be buying in bulk on Amazon. And, so we thought, hey, how can we include those types of ingredients? And then even ones that maybe customers couldn't find, which was like ashwagandha. And that was 10 years ago. So Rich, now ashwagandha is in like every superfood that pops on the market. But back, 10 years ago, we knew that it would be helpful for just reducing inflammation and the stressors in the body, but we couldn't have known it'd be so popular like it is today. But, as we were talking to customers about it, they had, no idea how to pronounce it, no idea like what it was. That was really early days for adaptogens and superfoods. So we thought, let's make a great, juice recipe that would be one, like hard to make daily and support great benefits.
Okay, so that's the point, is to make juicing easier, faster, simpler, all in one. So these are what Organifi is, what powders that you mix in with water, or literally how does it work and look?
Yeah, so and that was I think really pointedly a great example of where we started from. Where we are today is different than that, in that we've expanded into superfood blends and adaptogen blends, and we can talk about that. But our origin story was really making juicing delicious and easy, solving for that. And so it is just a gently dried recipe formula of basically Organifi green juice was our best green juice recipe we could put together. And it took a lot of I think we have like, almost like the Heinz 57, we have like 58 taste test samples at the time. In 2014, we were going through just to make sure it tasted great, and then had 600 milligrams of ashwagandha, a meaningful amount, 250 of moringa and chlorella, spirulina, things that weren't, easy to get in a important quantity, a meaningful amount.
Okay. So how many different variations are there of the product? And do you recommend that someone cycles through X number of formulations, or do they stick with just one, like mango every day, or what's the recommendation?
Yeah, I mean, our products are designed for daily consumption. So, just as our team has since created them, use them every day as well, and our families too. So there's no reason not to have, our original green juice formula every day. It's designed to definitely specifically support with stress balancing. So it is with the 600 milligrams of ashwagandha, that formulation, our first product, is still a great product for daily use for stress balancing. And I don't know about you, Rich, but more late, more than typical lately. I've really appreciated having some stress balancing. So that's been a really key daily product. We do have multiple flavors of it though. And so we've got a green apple crisp version, which tastes more like a little sweeter. Our original formula is minty. And so, we really set out in the beginning, and still I feel like we're so well differentiated to make it taste good. I think, it's a tough spot to continue to land, which is great tasting, high quality. Often, you see people kind of cut corners on either of those sides, but that's been really important for us in building new product lines and just remaining consistent and it tasting good.
Yeah. How much of a volume of liquid is recommended? Is it 8 ounces with a scoop, or is it 16 or 24?
Yeah, it's designed for 8, and we have a lot of our community adjust based on preference. So I like it pretty concentrated. If customers think the flavor's, too intense, certainly just adding extra ounces of water is such an easy way to adjust the taste. Also adding like an almond milk or, a milk or a milk alternative is a really fun way to change the flavor. And then of course we have a lot of customers blend our different products together. So we happen to have like a red juice for energy, and they'll do the red and green together. And that tastes significantly different. So a lot of ways to change the taste, but all products are designed with just that 8 ounces of water recommendation. So really, really simple. Again, mainly because that convenience factor. In the beginning of kind of forming the juicing company before Organifi, we were really focused on coaching and consumer education. And one of the key things we consistently looked at is really creating change can be challenging unless it's attractive and enjoyable. And when it came to health coaching, we knew that in creating products, they had to be incredibly convenient, literally 30 seconds to make and enjoy and not have to make a smoothie out of it. And
Organifi is a line of organic superfood blends that offer plant-based nutrition made with high-quality ingredients. Each Organifi blend is science-backed to craft the most effective doses with the ingredients that are organic and free of fillers and contain less than 3 grams of sugar per serving, like Organifi green juice with essential superfoods and a clinical dose of ashwagandha. It helps reduce stress and support healthy cortisol levels. Or Organifi red juice, a superfood punch that increases energy without caffeine and only 2 grams of sugar. Each Organifi blend is easy to use simply by mixing it with water or your favorite beverage while on the go, and they don't compromise quality for taste. Organifi takes pride in offering the best tasting superfood products on the market at a price that works out to less than $3 a day. You can experience Organifi's high-quality superfoods without breaking the bank. Go to Organifi.com/genius and use the code GENIUS for 20% off your order. That's Organifi.com/genius. Use code GENIUS to get 20% off any item. Remember, www.Organifi.com/genius.
You know what may be helpful? For a while, I was having like liquid ketones, which are pretty much disgusting. So I noticed there's different. I think what you probably already know is there's probably at least 2 different personality types. So I don't mind drinking something that's absolutely disgusting as long as it's not a big volume of liquid. Like I can have like an ounce or 2 of like the most vile thing and just get it down. But like, for instance, my wife can drink much larger volumes than I can. It doesn't bother her, but she doesn't want it to be disgusting. So I'm wondering, like within your population of clients and stuff, do you see those 2 types of people? And can Organifi be used by, in one way? Can I have like just an ounce or 2 super disgusting and chug it down? Or can I, if I'm okay with larger volume, I can do it that way? Like, do you see that in your clients?
We do, yeah. And we have a very limited, but a couple SKUs that are capsules. And so really often look at the high convenience, more your mentality, Rich, which is like, hey, I can get it in as long as it's easy, convenient, and pretty quick. Maybe it's a shot if it's something, liquid. But for our blends, the key intention is actually to kind of sit on the other side, which is we're going to make it really convenient and encourage, drinking actually more water during the day and getting the actual benefits of maybe even replacing a snack or having a degree of like satiety, reducing cravings, or maybe the felt experience of hunger. And so some of our core products are kind of designed to have that lifestyle experiential benefit by consuming it without just, slamming a shot really quick. But I totally get it. Definitely things that don't taste good. I absolutely agree. They should be in shot form or less, considering the technology for, product creation today with quality standards. So yeah, we do have capsules, and in our product kind of pipeline. We definitely want to better support and address the audience similar to yourself that just is going for convenience and quality. And so capsules are a really easy way to do that. Tiny shots and tinctures are too. As you get into more of the powders, I think it's really key, and a huge limitation is for the audience and the customers that want to actually enjoy that drink without having to slam it. So there is a part of, you know, how long it takes us to ingest food that helps proper digestion and assimilation of those nutrients too.
And maybe a hybrid. I mean, what if you have the product and you say, like, look, you can either have 8 ounces of this, or if you're, you know, if you want to have 2 capsules, then you only need 4 ounces to really be efficacious. So it's less volume, but you still get what you need. Maybe, do you think that would be useful for people?
I think so. Yeah, very much so. And we definitely see consumers on both sides that, you know, can either handle, even our head herbalist, you know, she's a genius, and she can handle so much of even the product initial taste testing that I wouldn't even get close to. You know, luckily we have a pretty strong, you know, palate filter for the ultimate end product tasting amazing. But it is great to even see that internally, that our team, you know, some would prefer just the capsules for on the go, so that you don't have to worry about mixing even for 30 seconds.
So, I mean, what do you notice? Do most of your customers, they drink the 8 ounces and they're fine? Or do, you know, some of them say, we want something different? Like, what's the demand telling you from what you see?
Yeah, our core consumer is incorporating the products into a lifestyle. So they're really making it, hey, when I wake up, I have my green juice. It's a healthy step in the right direction, and building a lot of confidence for making great choices, you know, cascading throughout the day. So a lot of our customers we haven't had huge feedback on changing the format, mainly because of that lifestyle push that we encourage customers to really incorporate this into their daily routines and rituals. And, you know, the area that we have opened the conversation a lot is around travel and convenience. So, you know, travel packs are really important in our product line. You know, it's really removing the obstacles to consistency with the products. And, you know, we can talk a bit about adaptogens and superfoods in terms of when and how you see results. That matters too.
People that don't know, what is an adaptogen? You know, superfoods is kind of maybe self-explanatory, but what is an adaptogen?
Perfect. And superfoods, I think, have no actual definition. So I love that the fact that, you know, the assumption around superfoods, and I'll kind of define that a little bit for how we look at it, is just foods that by nutrient density are higher than most. So, you know, there's so many foods, and as we kind of have seen here with the last 10 years, every food's a superfood to some degree. So it's great to differentiate adaptogens, and these are core to our products in that they are plant-based, and they are ingredients that work with the body's natural hormone cascades and essentially work in feedback loops to help balance the body. So as a core kind of definition, they're ingredients that help the body naturally maintain homeostasis. And that's the sense of balance, a state of balance within the body that, you know, it's incredible what our bodies are capable of, whether it's, you know, thermoregulation when it's hot or cold out, whether it's just metabolizing foods we're not used to eating, you know, sometimes better or worse, and then even just maintaining blood alkalinity levels or body alkalinity levels, I mean. So it's internal pH. So all those bodily functions are just your body's ability to maintain homeostasis, the sense of balance that allows the body to function properly. Adaptogens support that core function.
Okay. So these mixtures, does each mixture have a different profile of how it supports someone? You know, if I have I'm just making this up. If I have autoimmune issues and weight problems, is there certain flavors or tinctures or preparations you guys have to address that versus someone else that maybe wants just more mental clarity or other type of performance?
Yeah. So each of our products has and kind of how we design our formulations is, and probably uniquely, having a key ingredient, typically the adaptogen in the formulation that has substantiation around it, meaning given that the supplement industry at large is not FDA regulated, we go through a special process to substantiate any benefit claims that we speak to with our products, which is actually a huge call out just for consumers' education and getting results from products. So we go through substantiation to ensure that there's clinical research, viable research, qualified research backing the benefits of the products. And those are typically related to the adaptogens in each blend. So for instance, greens, as we've been talking about with the ashwagandha in there, has clinically backed research showing that supports balancing stress. balancing the stress hormone cortisol, and cascading into an array of benefits such as, better sleep, better digestion, better just obviously stress cascades into all areas of our life, but really importantly, even of course, weight loss. And that's a really key one for our audience, and just managing a healthy weight. Different formulations, like our red juice, is really focused on energy and natural circulation benefits. And so we have reishi and rhodiola, cordyceps. Those are all really great mushrooms, adaptogenic mushrooms that really help with natural metabolism and energy within the body. So instead of, and I always like to contrast this, Rich, instead of a stimulant where you're taking something that has an external effect on the body and makes a response happen, this supports your natural ability to make, natural energy. You always hear, right? That's like your body just being able to actually produce energy consistently throughout the day, be able to balance stress throughout the day, be able to sleep better, right? Our gold product really aimed for great sleep. And so it isn't, customers don't experience the, if you take Tylenol, right, the quick relief, but what it does is over the course of 30 days and potentially longer and or shorter, depending on where a customer is coming into their state of health when they're trying adaptogens for the first time. But that consistent use creates the body better able to do that naturally, so that you don't have to take maybe sleeping pills consistently, or, maybe anxiety medication. And again, this is not definitely talk to your doctor before, right. Definitely not a medical recommendation, but the intention for giving your body natural ingredients to address those issues as a root cause rather than a stimulatory effect.
Well, if I want to be healthy, I would think, all right, I'll cycle through these 5 flavors. Again, I'm making this up. There are 7 flavors, one a day. That way I'm not having too much of one every single day, and it's, maybe adding up to not be healthy for me. I don't know. Would that be a good plan, or would that be foolish? And could you do that? So there's this trade-off between taste and having the same thing every day versus, let's say, wanting to be balanced and not having too much of any one thing. So how do people reconcile that when they take stuff?
Yeah, I love that. And what's really important, and still the differentiation between, let's say, like pharmaceuticals or stimulants versus adaptogens and, whole foods, is that especially for adaptogens, as they're just balancing, so they're just balancing with the body, it's very hard, and I'm not aware of the point in which you can overdo that. So because you're not just taking a stimulatory, let's say caffeine, right? So if you are using caffeine, it's, well known and common that people can overdo caffeine, and the body has a negative response to that because it's stimulatory. It's not working with the body naturally to produce energy. It's just literally creating energy within the body. Yes, there's totally a benefit to that format, but you can very much blindly kind of create trouble in the body and, wear out your adrenals or burn out your body's natural hormone cascades for energy and metabolism by doing that. So adaptogens, it's very beneficial to consume them daily. They're just helping to balance the body. So very low likelihood that you'd have to cycle on and off because they are whole food-based adaptogen superfoods. So kind of a key benefit, and very different than, stimulatory-based supplements. And that's not to say that even supplements that are more like synthetic vitamins, right? That can be challenging for your body to handle, and or more likely to have too much of and or cause imbalance in the body. So that's why I really focus on whole food-based supplements instead. But you brought up a good point in terms of when to cycle, and I will still address this because I firmly believe that the answer is not just taking everything all the time. As a real consumer myself, that can feel really overwhelming. And so the way I like to look at it is instead, of course, with self-awareness, recognizing what you actually need. So if energy is your, if you did a health assessment, just even, take on a pen and paper and rate on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being awful, 5 being immaculate and everything you could ever want. How's your level of sleep? How's your level of energy? How's your hunger, right? Maybe your mood, digestion, right? Just some key sleep, right? Just some key areas in your life that's your own filter for health. And then if you focus on incorporating supplements in that area specifically, at least when you're taking those supplements, because they're non-stimulatory ideally, you can tell if it's making a difference. I think that's a really key spot for consumers to focus. Otherwise, it's really easy to be overwhelmed by just taking a lot every day and not knowing what's working. So first, awareness on the areas you want to improve.
What about, what if you separate it? And I know I'm telling you how to do your product, and I'm sorry, it's just ideas.
I love this.
I hope you don't mind. What if you had unflavored powders, and then you had flavor powders? So on a given day, I could say, all right, I want the reishi and cordyceps and blah, blah, blah. but I'm in the mood for mango. So I'm going to mix the two together, 4/5 of this and 1/5 of that, put it in water, and now I get my custom formulation.
Come on, Rich, join our R&D team. Yes, I love this. Our team has, it's called like internally our boost line. So it would be a boost instead. And same concept, you're totally right on. Very tuned into probably consumer wants right now. So thank you for that. It is definitely an area we're looking at, because if you are having the same thing every day, luckily it tastes great instead of like grass or something awful, and it's still the same taste. So we've definitely looked at unflavored. We've definitely looked at capsule converting from our powders products going forward, and just trying to meet customers where they are, because that is a key concern. And I'll add one more thing to the note on cycling products. I definitely think seasonality is a really good cue for what supplements we use. And a really well-known two examples would be vitamin D in the winter months, late fall, winter months for folks. And so incorporating, that's pretty normal for society to think about that. Even doctors, right, recommend that for certain areas in the world. The other perspective would be allergy season, what people typically do to change their either diet or supplementation. And typically that's maybe allergy medicine or who knows what. But that's a really, I think, comfortable frame, even back to school season, right, when cold and flu is a bit higher. Three examples of where we're all pretty used to actually changing our, let's say, supplementation or medication frame of reference and plan. And so if we apply that same frame of reference to natural supplements and adaptogens and superfoods, taking more collagen when you're out in the sun during the summer months or spring months, or if you're training for an event, really, really focusing on, we have a collagen boosting product, Glow, which is a plant-based, more internal collagen boosting support product. And that one, like right now, we just relaunched it, and it's such a important one for the summer months, just to support your body's natural ability to handle increased sun exposure, and where typically your skin would be under more duress because you are experiencing more exposure and damage. If you boost your supplementation during this time of year, you're better off. And so it's just helping your body go through the natural rhythms of the year during allergy season and or back to school season where cold and flu is really high, using like our immunity product that has natural zinc in it and vitamin C. And rather than just supplementing with synthetic, you're looking for whole foods to incorporate. So I think this is a nice lens to consider the time periods where maybe you're experiencing way more stress in your personal life or at work, adding in a superfood that has ashwagandha in it to support better sleep, you name it. So it's great to get to consider just the seasonality approach rather than, again, imagine that kind of overwhelming position of, I think I need these things all the time, always, because that's really overwhelming.
Yeah, no. Okay, it makes sense. So I guess last couple of questions. What's the future of the product? It sounds like, you're always thinking and innovating as well, which is great. What's coming next that you can talk about?
Absolutely. We have a couple great caffeine alternatives, which is fun. We have some performance-focused lines as well. So, and not just in the hydration space, but in the high-performance hydration space. So a bit on the, I think we've done a great job of covering what we call like essentials. And so now we get to move into some more specific product lines. Our Pure is kind of an example of that, which is a cognitive performance product, really focused on improving not just memory and BDNF, right, our brain support, but really on improving reaction time. So really exciting to open up some athlete conversations and infuse some superfoods and adaptogens into that industry. Outside of that, though, and more in like a macro lens, Rich, what I'm really excited about is the overarching trend to really personalize nutrition. There's this abundance of options in our industry, supplements in general. And so really supporting, and even this conversation, I hope it felt supportive to consider, what do you need as an individual right now? What do consumers, get to build from self-awareness, their actual supplement plan? And so it feels a little bit like the health and nutrition industry that went from like, hey, everyone's buying the same generic workout plan or diet plan, to working with a coach and really looking at, can I build enough interoception, right, perception of how my internal state of well-being is to actually know what I'm taking is making a difference, and then stop taking the stuff you don't need. And I think that's going to be a pretty important cross-section between wearable technology, the supplement industry, the kind of personalized health telehealth industry. So really exciting space that Organifi is moving into. And there's a lot here for, of course, our whole industry, which I'm really excited about. Definitely rising tide mentality in that, seeing some really cool stuff come to light.
Oh, that's great. So, all right, for listeners, they go to where to get the product and to find out more. And, when I understand, we have a coupon for, I believe, 25% off using the code GENIUS. But again, where can people go to try out the product?
Thanks, Rich. Yeah, use that code GENIUS at Organifi.com. The URL you offered at the beginning, OrganifiShop.com, is the same URL, so either work. But definitely encourage, and kind of a great starting place is our Sunrise to Sunset bundle. It's just the green juice for stress, red for energy, and gold for great sleep. So it's a really nice rising to resting format that helps customers kickstart just trying out adaptogens for 30 days and really seeing how they can feel more energy, sleep better, and handle just the daily challenges of our lifestyles today. So highly encourage you guys to check that out. I really appreciate the conversation, Rich. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Mae.
Organifi is a line of organic superfood blends that offer plant-based nutrition made with high-quality ingredients. Each Organifi blend is science-backed to craft the most effective doses with ingredients that are organic and free of fillers and contain less than 3 grams of sugar per serving, like Organifi green juice with essential superfoods and a clinical dose of ashwagandha. It helps reduce stress and support healthy cortisol levels. Or Organifi red juice, a superfood punch that increases energy without caffeine and only 2 grams of sugar. Each Organifi blend is easy to use simply by mixing it with water or your favorite beverage while on the go, and they don't compromise quality for taste. Organifi takes pride in offering the best tasting superfood products on the market at a price that works out to less than $3 a day. You can experience Organifi's high quality superfoods without breaking the bank. Go to Organifi.com/genius and use the code GENIUS for 20% off your order. That's Organifi.com/genius. Use code GENIUS to get 20% off any item. Remember, www.Organifi.com/genius.
You've been listening to the Finding Genius podcast with Richard Jacobs. If you like what you hear, be sure to review and subscribe to the Finding Genius podcast on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. And want to be smarter than everybody else? Become a premium member at FindingGeniusPodcast.com. This podcast is for information only. No advice of any kind is being given. Any action you take or don't take as a result of listening is your sole responsibility. Consult professionals when advice is needed.